Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to Extreme Graphics Tech. My name is Angelo, and well, today I want to make one of those reflection, meditation, opinionated videos where I talk about a gaming topic that I am interested in. As you've seen, I haven't made a video for the last 12 days, and that's not because I have abandoned the channel, but I was on holidays. I was on holiday for almost a month. I left like 3 or 4 videos program to be published while I was away, but still, I'm just came back, and as you can see, I am still very jet lagged, still very not ready for prime time, as you can see. That's the reason I want to make this little video, which is easier for me to talk about right now and give an opinion on the subject. And what is the subject? Well, you already saw it on the title of the video, and it's that Call of Duty is coming to Game Pass, okay? Or at least that is what I read, because I've been quite disconnected with everything video game. And now what I want to do is ask questions about if this good or bad that the game is coming to Game Pass, okay? And we have to see it from different sides and different angles, okay? And I don't pretend to answer the question. I don't pretend to tell you, oh yes, it's good or yes, it's bad. I just want to ask questions, present scenarios, and then each one of you can make your own opinion. And in this case, even though my channel is always dedicated to like tech discussions or GPUs, graphic, I think from time to time it's interesting to talk what is happening in the gaming world. Okay, so Call of Duty coming to Game Pass is a big deal, and I think that if we think about it, there are different areas to watch. The first thing will be me as a user that already pay Game Pass. Okay, I am a Game Pass user, and I think the Call of Duty coming to the Game Pass is very, very good. Of course, I'm going to say that because it's coming to a service that I already pay, so I don't have to pay anything extra. I am not a multiplayer gamer, okay? And don't play multiplayer games most of the time. I, only from time to time I play like the occasional PUBG or the Helldivers 2, but I am not a multiplayer game. I like my stories, I like my single player games, and that's it. Or multiplayer games like Coach Game, okay, Mario Kart and that sort of things. So having said that, I enjoy playing Call of Duty single player, okay, the campaign. I don't care about the multiplayer aspect of it. So for me, this is a godsend because I was tired of paying like $70 for a 6-hour campaign that and then I was just going to leave the game there in my library because I will never play the multiplayer part of it. So this game coming to Game Pass obviously is going to save me a ton of money because I won't have to spend those $70. And I think for anyone already on the system, I think it's the majority of Xbox gamers that already have the service and are already paying the service, this is a very good news because now they don't need to spend another $70 to get the game. However, now what about the people who do not pay Game Pass that are on PC or Xbox? So these people could have or are the Game Pass already, but obviously they don't have it for whatever reason. Either the service is not enticing enough, like there is no good title, or they prefer to buy their games, or any other reason. But they could have, and they haven't. Okay, they could have the service right now, but they don't, and that means that they are not interested. The question is Call of Duty a reason to make these people now pay Game Pass and make the subscriptions go higher? The first question is, as I said, they could, but they haven't. So now, is Call of Duty good enough to make these people now start paying? And here we have two categories of people. The first one is like the people who only play Call of Duty. Like the main reason to have any gaming system is to play Call of Duty. If they're on PC or an Xbox, okay, and their only reason is, or main, like 90% reason to play anything is Call of Duty, and we know this, that it's one of the most played games. We can see that on the charts for every system, Steam, Xbox, PlayStation. I don't know if that's enticing enough, because if you think about it, if you pay for the service, you're going to end up paying more a year than it will cost you to just buy the game straight ahead, right? So if you pay $70 or €80, it will be cheaper than paying for the whole year, because we're talking people who mainly play Call of Duty. So if they mainly play that, it's obvious that they are going to play all year long until the next version of the game comes. So for them, this is really not a great business. They will end up paying more over a year than they will just by buying the game. So I don't see this as an enticing enough situation to make people start paying the service. But then there is the second kind of people who are interested in Call of Duty mostly, but see that now, they can play any other occasional game that they're interested to between Call of Duty games. Like, okay, I'm going to play Call of Duty, it's my main reason, but there are other games, so I find this enticing enough now because of Call of Duty to pay for the service. I don't know how many of those people are out there, but probably there are going to be some, okay? So from the point of view of the user, it will be good for whoever is already paying for the service, obviously, because if they are already paying for the service, many of them are also buying Call of Duty, okay? Because even if the Xbox sale of Call of Duty is not the biggest one compared to PC or PlayStation, it's big enough that this is a risk for Microsoft, because we're talking about, at least on Xbox, about 20% of sales. And we know that Call of Duty sells like 1,000 million every year just on launch day. So what we are saying here is that Microsoft is risking around $200 to $300 million of sales because of people who are already on Game Pass. Of course, as I said, there are many people who will still buy it because it's cheaper than paying for an annual subscription, but there are a lot of people on that annual subscription already that also buy the game that now they are not going to. So Microsoft is risking a lot of that income in the hope that they will subscribe or gain more subscribers, which in the long run, as I said, is better for them. But now the question is, how many of those Microsoft need to justify this movement? Because then the question comes to PlayStation users. Is any PlayStation user really enticed enough to move to the Xbox brand to play Call of Duty and pay for the service? So you need to buy the system and you need to buy a PC. Many PlayStation users also have an Xbox, so for them it's going to be easier. But for those that don't, they need to buy the system and pay for a yearly service. Which again, why not just spend $70, 80 euros and just have the game for yourself for the whole year? So these are questions that really have to consider. Now, seeing it from the Microsoft side point of view, as I said, they are risking or maybe testing the waters just to understand if this is an interesting movement to do and to see if it brings enough subscriptions. But once again, the question I have to ask is this enticing enough for many people? Because as I said, Microsoft must be seeing this and say, okay, we have PC, okay, one of the biggest areas for Call of Duty, and are they going to start paying a monthly service for the game? Because why haven't they subscribed already if they wanted the service? Obviously, anyone not subscribed is either because they don't want to pay a monthly fee because they don't consider it's worth it, okay, they don't have the money, or because it's just cheaper to buy the game for the whole year. So now you put Call of Duty and the question is this interesting enough for them to lose that revenue that they are going to be not losing but not making, not gaining? I don't know, and it's kind of interesting because I don't see how many people. I know for a fact it's going to make the subscription grow. There are lots of people who are interested in this, but the question is enough people to justify not selling the game or not giving a leeway, like, okay, let's make it Game Pass after 6 months and sell it to a lot of people? Because as I said, many people are not going to buy the game because they already pay for Game Pass and they are also Call of Duty player, and other people are not going to subscribe because it's cheaper to buy the game, and some people are going to subscribe but obviously not buy the game. So it's going to be a mix. And then the question that I have is, if you get, I'm going to give a very, you gain 5 million new subscribers to Game Pass, all right? Let's say we are at 35 and you take the subscription to 40. Microsoft wants numbers close to 70 to 75 millions on Game Pass. I don't know if it's to make it profitable or just to, you know, have a nice number that, you know, is making them lots of money. But anyway, the last number we were working around on Game Pass was 35 million. So let's say they push this to 40. Fine, great, a lot of subscribers on Game Pass, okay? Now, the question is, this year you gain 5 millions. And those 5 millions that you're gaining is because of Call of Duty. So you bring those 5 millions to you get all these new subscribers. But what about next year? You're not going to regain new subscribers because anyone interested in Call of Duty is going to subscribe this year. So next year, I don't think you are going to make that number grow again, and they're going to be expecting to have Call of Duty again on the service. And you know what that means? That you're not going to get any new subscribers based on Call of Duty. You already gained whatever it is that you had to gain this year. So next year, what is it that is going to be so enticing to make you grow those numbers again in the way you need to make the service go to where you want to? And then you are starting to lose revenue at that point because, yeah, first year we gained 5 million, it was worth it. Second year, we're going to put the next Call of Duty, because if you don't, you're going to lose a big part of those 5 millions that you gained last year. So to keep them, you need to put the next game and so on and so on. Otherwise, you're going to lose those 5 million that subscribe only based on the availability of Call of Duty. So what is going to be the next big thing that is going to keep your numbers growing and keeping them? Because the problem is that if many people can play, like this month, maybe a lot of people pay for Game Pass for 1 month to play Hellblade 2, and that's it. They don't want Hellblade, they finish, it's a short game, it's a single player game, and I don't pay anymore, and that was all I needed. I finished the game for $10, $15, and that was it. But the people paying for Game Pass are going to pay for Call of Duty are paying a lot more. So you need to keep them happy because those are the ones paying month by month, as if Call of Duty became a subscription game essentially. So I don't know. It's an interesting situation, and I don't know what you think about all of this. Is this a good movement? Is it a bad movement? What do you think is going to happen? Are you interested now in... I would really love to know if you're interested in Game Pass now that Call of Duty is going to be in, or if you are in like PlayStation. Is anyone honestly thinking of moving to Xbox or PC to start paying the service while you could just buy the game on the system you already have and just play for a year for cheaper essentially? I don't know. There is lots of questions. I know for a fact I wouldn't. But I already pay for the service, so for me it's quite good because I now can play the single player campaign, no problem, just finish it and that's it. And for anyone in the same boat, maybe they pay 1 month of Game Pass for that single player campaign and that's it. And as I said, many people will do the same just for the single player campaign and then leave the service, but they are interested in the people who play every single day at the same title. Are these people good enough to bring anything? Are they going to stay? How do you keep them enticing? And what about next year grow? There are lots of questions here unanswered, and I think until the game doesn't launch, we are not gonna know. But I think it's an interesting debate, and I would really love to know your thoughts on this one. What do you think is going to happen, and how good is this for the growth of the Game Pass ecosystem? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, see you on the next video.